Hey guys, new video here. We're talking about brands. I made this character yesterday and I heard that the brands were bugged out and it wasn't really clear to what extent they were bugged out, but I'll just show you and it's pretty cool. So there's two different bugs that are really important. One is a mapping variant that gives you huge AoE. The other one is a bossing variant that gives you more multiplier when it's not supposed to. So I'm going to show the mapping variant first, and the way I do that is I have two voices, but you don't need the one note voices because as you can see I'm pretty low level and I could drop a lot of either damage or utility like weird stuff on the tree to simulate a 5 or a 7 notes very easily. The note in question is Secret Runes. I have 6 of these, so all of mine are Grand Design and Secret Runes. However, you only need Secret Runes. You can use anything else you want. You can use Grand Design, you can use things like Brand Loyalty, you can use things like the one that like causes the frequency to be 25% increase if you haven't used the brand skill recently, because that one's also bugged, but that one's not even worth talking about because that one sucks. So Secret Runes with anything else. And the way that this works is that it stacks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you're a sign, you can even get more if you really want to go full potato, but it's not really necessary. And so if you have 6 of these, what's going to happen is you have 20% times 6, which is 120% increased brand attachment range per second. Now, I think there's a certain bug where the brand attachment range, I don't believe functions as a squared function of AoE, right? Because if you get 50% AoE and you get 100% AoE, you don't actually get, double the amount, right? Right? Because like the bigger a circle gets, the more area is attributed to each increase in radius. Okay, so with that said, when I have 120% per second, that is going to keep stacking infinitely, but it's not in the way that you might think. So what I mean by that is, let's say I take out my Archmage so I can cast my brands here. So I'm casting, and if you are casting, and most people have a brand recall that's socketed to like enhance, empower, second wind, things like that. If I spam this, you are not really getting any range. What I mean by that is that you are not getting any benefit, theoretically, from Secret Runes. You would think that you are because it says 20% increased brand attachment range per second, right? So you're like, oh, it's on the ground. I mean, I'm keeping the lifetime up, so I'm getting the range. No, but it actually functions opposite of that. What it does is it takes how much time has passed, and how much time has passed in its lifetime is multiplied by the 120%, okay? And I'll just show you an example. So my Storm brand right here is a 23-second duration. So if I cast my Storm brand and then I wait 10 seconds, because there's no way it's going to expire, right? Because it's unassigned. If I wait 10 seconds, that is 1,200% increased. You can just think of it as increased range of it attaching to an enemy. And all you have to do this is in the beginning of a map, okay? The smaller maps, it doesn't even matter, right? Like maps have different rooms. You don't even have to wait 10 seconds, maybe like 5 seconds, 8 seconds, whatever. So you're gonna cast it like this, and remember, you're spamming both your brands, and you are also spamming your brand recall at the beginning. And this is very important because remember, the brand recall is keeping it topped up at 23 seconds. It's never gonna go down, theoretically. The server ticks come into play where you are getting a little bit of range, but for the most part, you can understand where I'm coming from. So once you have all your brands up, you just stop. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000, 6, 1,000, 7, 1,000, 8, 1,000, 9, 1,000, 10, 1,000. And as you can see, it just like went here, and now it's like over there, and like look at that. It just goes on its own. Do you see that? Like it just goes, and I have an ultra wide, so it's even bigger. But if I squeeze it down, it's just like you'll see it go even further. Okay. And yeah, I didn't socket Archmage, but it doesn't matter, right? Because I was just showing the thing. So that was maybe what, 10 seconds, 12 seconds, 15 seconds. So what's going to happen is in that time, you are still gaining even more range because you don't have like a perfect press of your brand recall. Even if I have mine on my left click here, right? Like let's say I spam a brand and I have mine on left click, so it's always going on. Cool. That once again, the server, the lag increases that range as well. Okay. So that is it's just dumb, okay? So that is the AoE. And remember, if we do a theoretical calculation of, let's say you wait 20 seconds, okay? 20 seconds, you have 3 seconds of like safety time. 20 seconds times 120, that's 2,400% brand attachment range. And then you have like brand attachment range on the tree and on the other things, on the other notables on the cluster jewels. So it just gets really ridiculous. So I'm just gonna like go through this map and show you what that looks like. And then we'll talk about the other broken thing on the boss itself. Okay, so first let me cast mine. I think I have like 12 brands. I don't really feel like counting it. So we go here, put that in there, and now I'm going to count 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000. I don't need to count to the 20 because you'll see exactly what's happening after a while. Like now it's been like 10 seconds, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and get to the boss here. And as you can see, look at the trails. The trails will disappear in an the effect will be invisible after a while because there's some bug where like it can't render how much distance it's covering. It's pretty nuts. So that should show the AoE of it. And if you have things like explodey chest, explodey nebulous, things like this, then it makes them tick even faster and have more coverage. Okay, so that is the AoE, and you can play around with this to see what you're comfortable with. And the most obvious thing that you're gonna want to change is like you have to have secret runes a certain amount. 3 was enough to almost cover an entire simulacrum, and 6 is like just too much. So play around with like between 3 and 6, and then your other notable can be anything that you want. Okay, now let's show the other broken thing about the brands. So I'm actually gonna do a full respec just so you can see the damage here. These are my jewels, so I'm gonna take these out because I have the 6 cluster jewels in my inventory right now. And it is really disgusting. It kills like the Cyrus in like 1.2 seconds, given that you can spam the first brand on the opening when he's like available to be hit, right on the last phase. And here we go. Oh, I'm not gonna take that out though. So the node is called Brand Loyalty. Okay, so let me just go ahead and assign these. And what Brand Loyalty does is it is a more multiplier to damage taken that doesn't function correctly. Once again, all of this will most likely be fixed in patch 3.11. Okay, they're not gonna fix it now, because if they did and people built their builds around this, then we'd have a no mid-league nerfs number 2. So this will be here for another few weeks for you to play around with, but most likely it will be fixed. There are so many penises in my chat right now, Jesus Christ. It will most likely, 95% all this will be fixed in 3.11, and the brands themselves and the cluster jewels might be nerfed. Okay, we have to wait on details at the time of this video. For the next few weeks, maybe even longer, depending on if it's delayed, we will have this in effect. So let me put back my fevered mind. The jewel socket ones are pretty standard across these mana hierophant nodes, right? So like these, don't look at these jewels. These are just like however many that you can fit in for your mana costs. And we're talking about brand loyalty. Okay, so once again, the other notable besides brand loyalty can be anything that you want, right? I like this one because it has a little bit of everything. Brand attachment range, activation frequency, which is like kind of a more multiplier to the rate that it takes the damage, and then duration, which is nice if you're a little bit lazy or if like really bad internet. And additional brand is really nice because additional brand, the additional brand is like a grand spectrum effect here. And the reason I say you don't have to have this one is because for some reason the brand nodes are all crazy. There's like 2 other ones that give additional brand, and you can use whatever you want, right? Whatever you can get. So let's explain it. So this one right here, enemies take 5% increased damage for each of your brands attached to them. And people who play brands are like, okay, well, an enemy can only have 2 attached brands, right? So, and that is if you have Rune Binder. So instead of 1 brand like ticking away, you have 2 of them, so it doubles your damage there. What happens here is that this actually applies the moment you press your brand recall. So if there's only 1 target around, right? Like Cortex, which I'll show you right now. The Cortex dude, the boss, yes, he will only have 2 runes bound to him and ticking. However, the 5% damage is applied with every single brand you have. Okay, so this is kind of like Purposeful Harbinger, but for brands. And I think it's even more OP because it does more damage than my, like I didn't spend that much on this build, and I'm not even using I'm using my mapping setup, so I'm losing like 4 times the damage. But you'll see what happens here. And so basically, 5 right? There's 5 here, so that's 15 plus 5, 5, 5 here, plus 15, that's 30. 30% more damage taken by the boss per brand. Okay, and I have I don't even know how many I have. Let's see how many I have. I think it's 12. Let's just say it's 10. I think it's 11 or 12, but let's just say it's 10. So 10 times 30 is 300% damage taken, right? At the moment that you press your brand recalls and as they are ticking from the 2 brands. So yeah, I mean that's pretty strong, right? Like I have a lot of brands. You can count how many that is, and then multiply it by 30%. Okay, obviously you already have like damage taken on the tree elsewhere, so it's not exactly that much more, but you can do the math yourself. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do this again, and I'm gonna make sure I have all my brands up. I do, and I go in there. Now they'll never expire. And now we will try to fight this Cortex, and you will see some damage, right? I'm using my chain. I should be using crit multi, but not that it really matters. So this one right here, I accidentally used my mana. Feels kind of bad. Okay, so you're gonna see the damage here, and then next I'll have Archmage with more mana, so it'll do a little bit more damage on this guy, hopefully. So you want to tag him with the brands there, and then he's gonna get like almost one shot. Once again, I'm using a setup right here that is actually 4 times. Well, okay, it's not exactly. It's like 3.7 times less tooltip damage because I'm in a mapping setup and I didn't grab the other weapon or the helmet. So this is 3.7 times less damage than what you would do with like your normal gear, right? And so we're just gonna clear this, and I'll show you the end of it, and then that'll do the video. This is like a little bit longer, fight. Maybe I should have just shown it on a Cyrus or something.
This one is my own creation.
So here you want your mana to be max, right? So that you can like I said, the damage is pretty good. And you really want to like hit the recall like at the moment that they're proccable, right? And then like it's pretty good. And that's the Cortex map, okay? With the mapping gear once again, right? I don't have Bottled Faith or anything, which is a lot more damage. And that's about it. Okay, so that's the video. Just to recap, for mapping, you are looking for 5 or less passive skills because it's exactly the same as 4. The increased percentage damage is going to be with brand skills. There's no other role, so it has to be that. And you're looking for Seeker runes for mapping, okay? And the other one can be anything else that you want. And then for the bossing version, if you want to use that, and of course you could use a combination of both, right? You can use like the bossing brand loyalty and Seeker runes, right? It's up to you. There's a lot of flexibility here. But for this pure bossing character, if you want just to kill Cyrus, Shaper, Uber Elder, things like that, it's going to be brand loyalty, and then make sure you get extra brands, because extra brands on the other node are going to be grand spectrum, basically, right? If you know what that mechanic does. And so yeah, it doesn't have to be grand design. That's just what I've chosen, and it was really easy to get. It was like, these were 50C when I bought them earlier. And that's it. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. So it's broken, and I don't know if grinding gear is gonna fix it, but the AoE one's really crazy. You should try that one for mapping, because that it's super fun. It's actually the most fun I've had all league long, and I'm like behind the curve because I waited 2 months to play this build. Okay, thank you guys. Thanks for watching my video. Okay, bye guys, bye. Yo, what is this music? Dude, this music is so bad, but it was copyright free.